Hi, my name is Ailey, and I'm so happy you have chosen to watch an episode of our podcast, the Growth, Grace, and Gratitude podcast. I was inspired to start podcasting as a kind of shift that I had from the dance world into journalism. I grew up dancing ballet, and I have performed with the New York City Ballet, Miami City Ballet, at Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and in Madison Square Garden. So my overarching experience in dance has really inspired me to open up conversation that affects and influence our mental health. We have experts from every field to just talk about things and to find some level of growth, grace, and gratitude within each step of our evolution. I also want to mention that we have spiritual courses available for anybody that wants guidance on their spiritual journey. And if that includes coaching, we have a lot of guidebooks about inner child healing and mental health support and relationship guidance. And for students, we have great tutoring for writers who want to build on their journalistic skills or who want to publish their first novel, who want to work on their writing in general. We have courses in dance, ballet, yoga, and Pilates. So whether you are advanced or brand new, our classes are held on Zoom, and we have options for personal classes or group classes. And for writers, there's also an option of the typewriter. So if you have a typewriter that needs repair, we can repair that for you. And if you need a new typewriter, you can purchase a beautiful typewriter and start the writing process at your own pace. If you would like to have me on your podcast or would like to be a guest on my podcast, or if you want us to answer your questions in an upcoming episode, please send us an email at growthandgracemindset@gmail.com. If you like our shows and they resonate with you, please consider giving our show a rating of 5 stars. Give us a comment, follow, and just enjoy the episodes. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your journey with us. I hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Growth, Grace, and Gratitude podcast, where we talk about all things entrepreneurship, healing, growth, wellness, and happiness. On today's episode, we have a special guest, Veronika Wilkes, and she is a certified personal development coach, focusing on intentional coaching through the core community. So, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to talk with you. I really like your page and kind of the content you're sharing, especially as I feel like there's such a big shift now with like the personal and the collective into intentional healing, because I feel like so many times we're going on like a journey and it's so kind of repetitive and it feels like we're on a hamster wheel and we're repeating so many of the same things. It's like subconscious at this point. And I think it's so interesting that you're bringing to the forefront this idea of like intentional healing and coaching. It's like so beautiful. How did you even come up with this idea?
Hi, Grace. Thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. For me, the intentional idea rise up when I was thinking like there is no one size fit all solution for people's problems. And so also getting more intentional with everything in our lives. For me, with the social media, creating the content, sometimes it gets like I get into the consuming loop as well. And then I'm drawn into it and like get a step back and be more intentional with everything that I do. And so for me, it's the idea of intentional coaching is that like a stepping back from the life, seeing it from a bigger perspective, and then deciding, well, what are my next steps?
I love that. I think it's such a great skill to have also, because I feel like it's so easy to kind of be the consumer, because when something is presented to us, it seems so like easy to just keep following along and just become almost like mindless. You know how people like mindless scroll and just kind of like doing things without that kind of integrity. And I think like so many people, when they do that, it leads to mental health issues and maybe like addictions or things, because they start kind of losing their self-awareness and
Mm-hmm.
bringing it back to like intention. I think it's like so important also like to with coaching to kind of like ask people what is your intention for healing, like what is actually your intention, because sometimes people don't even know their core reason. Obviously everybody wants to like feel good and to have that mental clarity and health and things like that, but I think it is a great conversation to have, to talk to the coaching clients about their intentions directly.
Yes, you're so right. Like with that, I would say that's what it's coaching about, like having the intention and then acting on it. Yeah.
Yes, but yes, it's so true. And when people come to you, do they have like many different kind of things that they don't even know what they want to work on, or do they kind of have like specific goals that they kind of want you to help on?
Hmm. Well, I would say majority of my clients are, they know that they want to work on something. For example, it's time management, or they're entrepreneurs and they so as an entrepreneur you gotta sell yourself, and sometimes there is this low self-confidence going on or other things that we just need to like unblock. And so for the person to strive in the business that they're creating, or to become more aware of the talent and strengths we have. So it's usually like they already know what they want to work on, but during the journey that we have together with the client, other things arise, and we then focus on it. Because sometimes with for example, the low self-confidence, the issue is somewhere else than the people think, and then so we kind of slowly get there.
Yeah, yeah, I feel interesting. Everybody is so different, and it's so nice to connect with people who are even wanting to be on a journey to self-improvement. I feel like that's such an interest, that's such a like a crucial part of our soul evolution.
Yes, 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 agree
Yes.
completely.
And when it comes to like life coaching, how do you do your sessions? Do you do this like, do you have your kind of standard intentional way of coaching? Did you come up with like a brand new kind of idea of coaching? And did you also kind of have any inspirational mentors that inspired you to go towards
Hmm.
intentional coaching, or is it kind
Hmm.
of like your own creation through your own journey?
Hmm. um to clarify it, I would say that when it comes to coaching, um you probably know that the ICF organization, and so in the coaching we always follow, if it's the grow model, like asking the questions, the goal oriented, if it's relatable, and etc. And so I would say I use this formula, and then there's so many different ways how you can apply it, and you can also add like some personal development tests. I personally use neuro-linguistic programming. We had this like a add-on to my coaching certification, so I know a couple of neuro-linguistic programming techniques, and it's also awesome to like dive deeper, because coaching is goal oriented. I would say that's what we usually say, like what's the difference between therapy and coaching. Coaching is more goal oriented, and then therapy is more like digging deeper. And but it's also important for the future, because otherwise the people wouldn't go there because they want to have better future. But
Right.
with the coaching is more about the goals. And with the neuro-linguistic program, it's like a, when you add spices to your food, it's like a little something different. My clients like it.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's very interesting, like how people are awakening more and more to that like spiritual component of themselves, and I feel like that's what's helping them be more intentional. They're like finally realizing like, oh, there's like a part of my soul that finally wants to kind of be free. Like that's that core key element to finding intention. It's like when people finally start living intentionally, it's like so beautiful. That's where intentional connections and intentional healing can happen.
Hmm. 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 And I was growing up in the like a in the Central Europe,
Mhm.
and so I would say a lot of people are not as you said, spiritual, or even like they would believe in a god or whatever they want to believe. And so if you didn't grow up like a Christian or Buddhist or whatever religion there is, then the spiritual part, it's like a kind of, you're not connected to it. Because, there are the four parts of us, like the mental, psychological, physical, and spiritual. And a lot of people are not connected to the spiritual. And I would say what coaching does, it's just taking you back to yourself, having the bigger perspective. And it also can, once you have certain realizations, you can start seeing that, there's something like a different, and lean more into the spiritual realm.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's a good point, because I feel like so many people, they did grow up in kind of circumstances where maybe their inner child wasn't like fully developed into like a holistic kind of way where
Yeah.
like maybe, yeah, like you mentioned, that they're missing those components that like they didn't even know they were capable of feeling and experiencing. It's so important to do this like intentional coaching, to return back to that inner child, the pure inner child, and to kind of like reclaim those fragments that weren't even maybe like conscious. It's super interesting.
Yeah, agree. Awesome.
Yeah. So when it comes to people and when they do want to do like intentional coaching, are they on the search for like happiness? Is happiness a big goal for people, like for their personal spiritual journey?
Yeah, I would say it all comes to it. Like, even though they want to do something with time management, it all comes down to them wanting to feel more happy about their day-to-day life. So yeah, I would say.
That's it. That's so interesting.
No, I just wanted to ask, like you, how do you view happiness in your own life? Is it important for you?
Yeah, like when I did so much inner child healing with my clients, and I started like a few years ago when I was also going through like kind of spiritual awakening, I guess, and I was kind of feeling detached from a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. And then I slowly started to kind of discover what happiness meant to myself without attaching to the external world, because I feel like so many of us kind of, when we grow up in like situations or friendships, it's like you develop a kind of collective happiness, and it's
Mm-hmm.
great and it's fun for that time. But then I feel like when people start evolving and growing in separate directions, it's only like natural that they might lose their way a little bit and they might want to kind of like regroup. So I personally was like detached from everything for a while. And I
Mm-hmm.
had to figure out like what is happiness from my perspective. And it's kind of scary in the beginning, because when you're relying on somebody else, even if it's not really like codependency, but you are relying on somebody else's maybe decisions, or if they're saying we're gonna go here this week, and it's like if you don't have a say sometimes, or if you kind of realize afterwards that you feel drained hanging out there or hanging out with certain people, you do have to regroup. And I personally started to develop new ways that makes me happy. For example, less of the overly stimulation things that my friends kind of gravitated towards, and maybe they were on a different journey, and I have to kind of accept that, to be like, this is not my forte right now because it doesn't make me happy. And what did make me happy was like going for a walk or a hike or something a little bit more meditative for me. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's so interesting how we kind of develop our happiness. And I feel like with coaching, it's such a great addition to help people discover how they thrive in their happiness, because I feel like when you find what makes you happy, like genuinely happy, I feel like it helps you to live your life in a more holistic way, where you're
Mm-hmm.
able to manifest better, you're able to kind of create better, have better
Mm-hmm.
friendship, better communication. So it's such a journey. It's such a journey, like to find them.
Lifelong journey. I love what
Yes.
you said. Yeah, I love what you said with the walking meditations and just like doing your own thing. Yeah, doing the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yes. How did you come up with your kind of identification of happiness?
Mm. With myself, I would say it was a lot about accepting myself the way I am. Because what brought me to coaching was I had anorexia when I was 12. I was hospitalized for 3 months in a like psychiatric hospital. And since then I was searching for like how to love myself. Now I would say I'm on a very good path. And with the happiness, so for me, it was a lot about accepting myself the way I am and self-love. And also not being afraid to do the things that I want to do my way. Okay, so for example, my friends were like going to party, and I've never been a party person, and I kind of felt that like a push that to be part of the group, I need to go there and I need to be there with them. And I was the only one that had driving license at that time, so I was the only one driving, so I wasn't even drinking, so I was there like standing and trying to enjoy it. But yeah, so happiness for me, it's being okay with my own decisions, loving myself, and doing the things I want.
Love that. Yes, exactly. It's like finding that empowerment is so important. I feel like so many times people kind of like indirectly force us to people please, and that peer pressure, it's so annoying because we do want to fit in. We do want to have friendships and hang out with people and feel included. And then when we do feel that peer pressure, then we start to think like, wait, do I have to like follow them? Because if I don't, I'm going to be like left out of the group. And then what? It's like you kind of like question your identity, your self-esteem. It's not fun. It's so unfun. But in those tough moments, I feel like it's kind of like going back to the inner child and conscious parenting or reparenting the inner child to be like, no, like nobody can peer pressure you into doing that. Nobody's going to take away your self esteem if they don't invite you or if you feel like you're not alive. And I feel like we have to kind of retrain our own minds as adults to be like, to question if people are peer pressuring us or if we're also peer pressuring ourselves or like making us feel like we're less than if we're not going to go there. I feel like that's really important too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then also finding the courage to actually change it.
Yeah, and like that's when we're gonna go on our like separate path, and we're gonna find our like our journeys.
That's what coaching is for.
Exactly, like I love
Yeah.
it's such like an interesting journey how a lot of people when they do become like more spiritually evolved, they do start to change their habits, and I think that's like a natural part of growing up, but also of kind of reaching a higher level of consciousness and evolution. So it's actually a great thing. And I know at first people might feel like a failure, or it's like, why is my life changing? Why do I have to kind of do things differently? But it's like a testament to the person that, like you said, the courage that they're able to see that something is not working for them, and they're accepting it, and they're not like judging themselves or overly critical of their next phase. And I feel like that next phase might bring them that happiness and abundance that they're looking for.
Definitely. You said it like the best way. I love it.
And what are your goals next in terms of like coaching or maybe like personal? I feel like I personally love to have like goals. I like to like write down my like little planner like for this month, and we just started a new month, so it's like it's so fun. Me personally, like I like to write like if I want to go to the library, like I want to read these many books, or I want to read like by this author or something. What are some of your kind of goals on your personal development?
With my personal development, personally, I would say it's for now. I've been doing a lot of like the back office work, and so for me, it's just finding the time during my daily schedule, to just go outside, do the walking meditation, to incorporate it more, because it's better weather than in winter, so it's getting more sunny and so spend more time outside, either with just nothing, like leave my phone at home and go just by myself or have some podcast on. Listen to one of your episodes. And with the coaching, I would love to focus on growing the community, because I want to focus deeper on topics like social intelligence, even self-confidence, and opening up even like about my own personal journey, and also let people open up about their personal journey. And I want to create a safe space where people will be able to open up and feel safe.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so nice. Yeah, that idea of like expanding. That's very beautiful.
Exactly.
What advice would you give your like younger self?
My younger self?
Yeah.
Let me think for a bit. I would say, I would say everything that you do, even though it's gonna be like a failure, is just experience. So even if when I was doing like a school leaving test, I would tell my younger self, because back at that time I was so nervous, and to look at some challenges in your life as just experiences, and then it comes to like when I started doing coaching, I was like, will someone be interested in this? Like the self-doubt kicked in, imposter syndrome and stuff. And so see challenges as just that's like not cringe, but like opportunities to grow. But it's reality. It's when you switch the mindset into, okay, this is just another challenge that when I come out of this, I'm just gonna have another experience. And it also has something to do with not being afraid to be judged. Okay, you're just doing you, and that's fine.
Wow, that is so beautiful. And so like brave actually to come to that realization, because it comes back to kind of people pleasing in a little way. It's like we still want to be accepted. Like anything we do, we just want to be liked. And I feel like that's kind of normal. Like psychologically, it's kind of normal. But like I also went through a phase where I wanted people to not like me, and I wanted to like be myself so much that I wanted to kind of, when people were like, "What are you doing? What is that?" I was happy. Like I was happy. I was receiving that. And like when you said, it's like don't assign that value to your failures. It's so important, and it's so true. It's like, yes, you're right. Take them as opportunities, and this is going to help you grow. It's like once you assign such a value to failure, it's like, why do we do that? I know it's like negative and we feel like, oh, it sucks, it didn't work out, but it's so not productive. It's like, okay, if something failed, get up and keep going. It's like babies when they fall down, they're not going to be like, oh my god, I can't walk. I'll just sit here.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a couple of babies in my family, and I just love them more. I like to watch them, and like when they fall, they just get up and nothing happened. I'm just gonna do it again.
Oh, it's like when we're adults, like just think of like your inner child to be like, whatever. Okay, it's gonna work out. I will just keep going. I'll take the next step, or if you have to regroup again and like figure out your next steps or something. But yeah, I think that idea of failure is a big lesson for so many of us to kind of relearn those parameters and boundaries, because I feel like a lot of older generations have different views about failure. And when we are kind of dealing with ancestral karma or trauma or something, we misunderstand failure as like, oh my gosh, it's this traumatizing thing, and it's like the end of the world, and that's it. But really, it's not. It's just, I feel like that's part of growing. It's the most important part of growing, and it's supposed to help you understand more about yourself and more about what you can do next, like what the next steps be that will be productive and will be like fruitful to create something.
Absolutely. And you really seem like person that understands it and know what you're talking about.
Yes. I feel like went through my personal stuff, and I had so many situations where like friendships were like pushy, but when you're younger, you don't always kind of know that. And it's like when you're a kid, you just want to have a fun friendship and you want to be accepted and loved. But when
Yes.
people are kind of like jealous or they have some kind of essence of like to be your best friend, but they're not actually your best friend,
Mm-hmm.
time that creates trauma like on a child. That's like not fun at all. And it's like when you grow up and then people start rejecting you and you feel like what's happening, you feel completely lost. And I feel like in those moments you start to kind of understand the value of true friendship, people who
Mm-hmm.
actually have your back,
Yeah. Yep.
speak the positive about you behind your back, because that's like the true test of a friendship. If they're spreading rumors and gossip behind your back, that's like so hurtful. And it's like it really damages a person's kind of self-esteem and confidence. So
Mm-hmm.
I really kind of try to connect with people now who are going back to intentional. It's like it's all about intentional and integrity. It's like if they have that, I feel like if they're intentional with themselves, then they're going to be intentional with other people as well. And it's like it's as simple as that. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, simple as that, and but it's in the end
It's, so,
it's so hard. Yes.
it's the hardest lesson of life.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it was. Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to somebody who maybe wants to start getting coaching, or maybe they're in a phase of their life where they're not certain like what they should be doing or how to find that like kind of happiness, the inner child?
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to if they're thinking about college or if that is part of their mind, you can, you know, you can Google a couple of people on a either Google or Instagram. And for me, what's important to choose when you're choosing, like to look for when you're choosing a coach, is that if that person has some like talking videos, just listen to it and try to feel the vibe. Because I've had some clients that the vibe between us just wasn't it. And I don't want to be coaching just for the money and to get the money from it. I actually want to help people. So I just forwarded them to my colleague and we started working together. But so that's one thing. Try to have the vibe with the person, and usually coaches offer like a 1 hour or 30 minutes free consultation. So just go ahead and do that, and that way you can find if you're a good fit. Um, and also, I would look for like a certain certification if the coach has something, because in my opinion, it just gives more like, the professional sense to the coaching, and so that they know what they're doing. And because in coaching, it's there's blurry line between coaching and therapy. What are the competencies of coaches? And what I want to do with my coaching is to be really professional. So when I see people that are having like a heavy depression, that they cannot even get up from their bed, if they're even having suicidal thoughts, then this is not for coaches, this is for therapists or psychologists. And if they just want to kind of get more clear on their goals or work on their self-esteem, etc., then feel free to choose a coach. So that's like we, we were told to really be strict on this um, in the coaching school where I was at, because it's important, and bad coach can even like harm the person because they're opening up and you're diving into deeper topics. So look out for the vibes and some kind of certification and what it feels like to be with a coach. And please, first, what were the two other questions? It was about happiness. Okay. Mm, what I would say to myself if I would be like struggling with finding happiness and meaning in my life and kind of feeling stuck, I would say to myself, like, just pause for a second. You can just a couple of minutes or even have like a half of the day just for yourself and sit for yourself. Try to do nothing, no phone, no nothing. You can go for a walk, you can just think, be with your own thoughts. So many people are afraid to be with their own thoughts, so they just scroll on social media or listen to music constantly. And I was one of them. And what really helped me was just to sit with my thoughts. Even though you might feel, oh, but it's not productive, trust me, knowing what's going on in your head, that thing can like move you forward in your life just like so much. So sitting with yourself and asking, what am I missing? What do I need? What is something that if I had a magic wand and could swing it and something will happen that would make my life better, what would it be? And try to sit with these thoughts. And also there are a lot more questions that you can ask yourself. You can either go to my Instagram, or if you are sharing some questions regarding this, you can go to Grace's Instagram and just like find them there, and just to sit with the thoughts for a bit with the questions, and I believe we'll get more clear.
Yeah, I love that. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's so true. It's like if we think about it, we become so busy, and like the busy mindset, it's sometimes like a complete distraction from living and from being present. It's like sometimes people are like, I'm so busy, and like they're just stopping themselves from being present. And like I feel like sometimes being so busy, it's like a fear-based reaction to something that, like you said, if you do sit with your thoughts, that's even harder than being busy sometimes. If it's busy, it's like running away, like having that the nervous system where it's like fight or flight, trying to like figure something out that's like, I mean, it's actually the opposite of figuring something out. It's kind of like running away from yourself. It's like, I'm just going to be busy and everything will be great. But it's like sometimes when we're so busy, we're not feeling ourselves. We're not becoming in tune with ourselves and what we need. Maybe some kind of signs that we need to help ourselves or to be better people. So I love when you mentioned to just like sit in the stillness with yourself, and that is really hard. It's like psychologically hard too, because then you have to listen to those thoughts that you have playing on repeat, and it's like, oh my gosh, are these thoughts like healthy? Are they positive kind of affirmations? Are they something that's leading me towards my happiness? Or if it's not, it's like, oh my God, I have to kind of maybe change something. And then when the realization is made that change has to happen, I feel like that's already the first step. That's so important, and that's gonna lead to greater positive shifts.
Yep. And I heard it was like a interpretation of why it's important to have like these rest during your life, because when you have like the F1 car, and the drivers, the really fast cars, uh the red ones, then then these cars, not only do they gotta have the tires, but they also gotta have good brakes, because when they don't have good brakes, when something happens, the driver might die, when some accident would happen. And even though when you're going to like you're taking a turn or something, you need the brakes to make the right turn. And that's the same with our life. Like we need those breaks, those moments of rest to kind of know where we're gonna go next. That's what I love. Like this, yeah.
I love that
Example.
exact. Yes. You know what's so funny? It's like sometimes if you don't like take the message that the universe is saying to slow down, that's like you said, they're going to create like an action. Something is going to happen to actually force you to slow down. And that's never fun. It's like if you're not following those signs and following yourself, that it's like, if you take a step back, relax. And if you're not doing that, it's going to be so much harder later on when it's going to get louder and louder because, like, our spiritual self wants to communicate to us, like, it wants to be our friend and wants to help us to become our best self. And we're ignoring that because we're like, now my ego, I know everything. I'm good. Like, I want to go this way. I want to, I want to fulfill whatever just for my ego, for the soul satisfaction of ego. That's when everything comes crashing down because it's like, yes, maybe you can achieve the highest level that your ego can achieve. And then what? Is that long lasting happiness where your soul is not included in that kind of whole experience of humanness?
Yeah, and ego has so much to do with this.
I know.
Pressing ourselves, pushing ourselves into some direction because maybe we want to, like, we see that there is a shining object in the, and also stopping for a bit doesn't mean that you're not gonna achieve it. Like, it's just, and even like I'm speaking to my younger self when it comes to this. I was so, like, I was pushing myself forward and always doing something, and at the end I got where I wanted to be, even with a few rest days and breaks. So I would say it's not slowing you down. It's more like yeah, if you had a gun and you would pull it back and it would, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I love that. I love it. It's so true. And where can people connect with you and see your content and connect with your work?
I do have mainly on Instagram. So it's Veronika on Instagram. And over there you can find like everything related to my coaching or content or the intentional coaching or just what I'm sharing, what is my passion. And I started the core community, which is a community that is for everyone who wants to get aligned with their core, strengths, values, your personality. And apart from that, it's also a great place for people to connect with people from all over the world
Wow.
and maybe find some new opportunities because I found such a great people and such great opportunities in groups like this. So I would like to be like watering this part of the community to find new connections.
Yes. Okay. I'll include that also in the description.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. And thank you so much for coming on. I feel like our listeners are gonna have such a like beautiful array of information. It's like thank you for sharing your journey and like, how you work with people and how you're working with your inner child because I feel like so many people do get lost when it comes to like connecting with your inner child and working with your inner child and kind of feeling just acceptable. It's so hard to like feel accepted when we're trying to figure out who we are in the world. Sometimes we don't have good experiences, and it's actually probably in those experiences when we kind of begin that journey of becoming our like intentional selves. So I feel like it's so beautiful. I thank you for reminding us that we can develop like a personal relationship with our intentions. It's such a like beautiful gift how we can overcome those daily challenges and like build the life we desire.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Personal connection or personal relationship with our intentions. That's beautiful. I gotta write it down. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it like to the fullest. Thank you so much. It was a great conversation, and I would love to replay it, and even for myself to like remind myself of everything of the
I
intention of
would
my
love
life.
to